I am Thor, son of Odin, and as long as there is life in my breast, I am running out of things to say.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix.
That's my secret, Cat.
I'm always angry.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are. With great power comes great responsibility.
I can do this all day.
Wakanda forever!
Welcome, internets, to another episode of Views from the 616, the blackest MCU podcast in the multiverse, powered by 4 All Nerds, where we discuss everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. And it is one of your hosts, Tatiana King, aka the Wicked Witch of the West View, aka Tesseract Thompson, the Wrath of Khonshu, and the coldest winter soldier ever. As always, I'm joined by my handsome co-host.
Oh, thank you very much. It's your
You're
boy,
welcome.
DJ Benhameen, a.k.a. Wong was right, America was wrong, Black Goliath, Benhameen the Living Amplifier, Brisk Blairmont, NBA Youngboy, Never Lived Again, Brother Voodoo Child, Universal Fan, Khonshu here in the spaceship tonight.
And we are here on a very special episode of Views from the 616 because we had the privilege of seeing the Multiverse of Madness, starring Dr. Stephen Fitzgerald Strange, as well as someone named America Chavez that we're not quite sure is America Chavez, starring a whole bunch of other people that we can't name. But that being said, we had our special screening of it. Let me tell y'all right now, we're not going to spoil anything. That's not the people we are. That's not our ministry. That's not what we'll do. We're not going to tell you specific plot points or anything like that. However, we will give you our take of what we thought of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into the lightweight details, maybe we should just give you the overall perspective of how we feel. Do you want to go first, Ben?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Y'all, this is, first of all, let me tell you why this might be a little difficult for us. This is fresh.
We
This
just came out the theater.
Maybe an hour and a half ago, we just finished watching this, marinated on this. Shouts to everyone who's been following us on our socials at 4 All Nerds, at Views from the 616. Y'all would have saw that we have put out a quick little ting about how we feel, but this is a more long format. But Ben, I'm trying to stall for you.
Yeah, okay. First of all, like, the one thing that I will say off the bat is Sam Raimi put his whole entire foot in this. If you are a fan of Sam Raimi's, which I am, you will notice his style all over this. And it's not one of those things where it even looks like most Marvel films. It looks like a Sam Raimi film.
Absolutely.
For better or for worse.
Spider-Man 1 and 2.
And also Evil Dead, the classics. And my personal favorite, the From Hell joint, where there's a talking goat and all this other wildish. That it's a classic. It's a fucking hilarious movie. But for better or for worse, like you said, Spider-Man 1 and 2 and 3. You know, all three of them joints.
Yeah, that's
Venom,
one thing.
Dancing down the streets.
You got to take the good with the bad, right?
In this. Yeah.
You got to take the good with the bad.
The good with the bad. And you get it in this one. And my biggest... Look, I held up the book at the beginning. I was anticipating America Chavez. I had discussions with a friend of mine about how Marvel lately has done with their female characters kind of carbon copy. And I even feel that sometimes about their male characters. So it ain't like this is a different thing. Like Stephen Strange's first movie was Iron Man with magic. And for a while, that was Marvel's formula. Iron Man with this, Iron Man with that, Iron Man with shrinking, Iron Man with arrows, Iron Man with magic.
Not Iron Man with shrinking.
You know, like young Iron Man with spider abilities.
What's
you know,
Iron Man with shrinking? I mean, he was a criminal. I mean,
a slight difference.
Tony Stark's a criminal too, but
more criminals, folks. You know, bigger and better. So going into this, I wasn't really that hyped for Stephen Strange. I enjoyed him more, you know, in Infinity War and Endgame, where I was a little more hyped. But my love is for one America Chavez. And I defended the actress. A lot of people had a lot of issues with her, particularly because she is much more light-skinned and has a different hair than the character in the comics. And that's important for representation and other things. But just because I just wanted, at the same time, all I wanted was them to get the character of America Chavez right. This is a very young America Chavez that we see in this film. This is not the America Chavez that I know. Whether or not this character will grow into the America Chavez that I know and love remains to be seen. But I was not that pleased with this portrayal of America Chavez. I'll say that. Yes.
What about the other characters, Ben? I mean,
my girl Wanda did her thing. I ain't mad at, look, I call her a monster from WandaVision. She continues on that path. And I was proud of her for, saying, F it. If I'm going to be a monster, dog, I'm going to be a monster. I called her a monster from Monsters Lady. I called her a monster from early. She is not changed from WandaVision. I can say that. Whatever your feelings were towards her in WandaVision, you're going to feel more of it in this. If you loved her in WandaVision, you're going to love her in this joint.
If you loved Wanda from Jump Street, you're still going to keep loving her.
I
right?
mean, Wanda's up there with Chavez for me, especially comic Wanda. That's like the Wanda and Vision is that's what I grew up on. That's like one of the, things as far as relationships and comics that I grew up on was Wanda and Vision. So that was my heart. So how what she said in this movie, I was like, yep, right, 100% right, 100% right. Do your thing, girl. So yeah. I mean, Steven was Steven, man. I don't know.
Steven is Steven.
Iron Man with magic, Who else we got?
I mean, but just besides the characters, like just overall about the movie, like we see how you feel about certain characters, but like overall, how did you feel? Like, I mean, I hate to do this, but we're getting this a letter grade. How about letter grade instead of numbers? Do you want to do scale 1 to 10, or you want to do a letter grade?
I'll do both.
What is less?
I corrected my number grade for those who saw our social media, on Twitter /For All Nerds, everywhere else, YouTube, all that. I give it about a 7. I give it still about a 7.5, and letter grade C+.
Okay.
A D on how they handle Chavez for me. A D on that. D.
Right. Here's my thing about this film, and what's interesting about it is you are pretty much going to come out of it one way or another. It's polarizing to me. Mm-hmm. You're either going to come out like, yo, that was the most fire thing you've seen. That shit was off the wall, which it is. It was a wild ride and all the other euphemisms that everyone loved to say. Or you're going to be like, that was the most terrible thing I've ever watched.
I'm in the middle.
Recently. Or like me, like I'm in the middle, right? And because I think it's a entertaining movie? Absolutely. Do I think it's too much? Even more so. I think what the concerns about Multiverse of Madness is that they were doing too much at once. Literally, I feel like every idea you could have fathomed in the multiverse about how a story could have went, about how the scripts and characters could have went, they threw it in there. Sometimes to great comedic effect, whether intentional or not, sometimes to detriment, sometime to surprise. And I think that part of it is what lends to maybe some internal confusion of how do I truly feel about this and why I'm still kind of on the fence, because it's tonally, it shifts so much. And I gotta lend that, like you mentioned, Sam Raimi put his foot in it, but to what end, right? Because some of the choices, the directorial choices, I was just like, are we in a cartoon? And the thing is, and it's so difficult because like Spider-Man 1 particularly, but Spider-Man 1 and 2 are classics to me. I like the style. I like the direction. I love Tobey. Like, I love how that was the vehicle, the way that vehicle was driven. Mm-hmm. I'm concerned that the way this vehicle was driven was without regard to the rules of the road. And I say that to, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'll explain
the Marvel,
that further.
The MCU rules of the road.
And And let me be clear, I'm not saying that rules can't be broken. Yes, and
Yes.
it's actually good. We actually complain a lot when the Marvel formula, quote unquote, is followed to a T, right? Because it makes it boring. And I think moving beyond those rules and going 75 in a 40 is cool sometimes because you
Yes.
get some really cool effects. For example, you get some really cool
Mhm.
ideas. Really, like honestly, there's some things that are done in this movie visually that we haven't seen before. So
Yes.
so don't get me wrong, there's some great wins in this.
Yes.
My concern though is that I feel like he needed to be reined in a lot more than they was. It's that feels they gave him the fastest Tesla possible and said, just drive. Fuck the rules of the road. Fuck everybody else in the road. Fuck Elon Musk. Just fucking drive. And drive like you're on the worst server of GTA Online. Just fucking drive and go nuts with it. And that's how I feel like the man's went at it. And with sometimes to me it felt like with reckless abandon. And because
Yes.
of that, I was like, yo, maybe you shouldn't have went that hard. And even as I was walking home after watching the film, what I realized is I think Sam might be a psychopath because some of the things, some of the
When you see the
choices-
From Hell and like Evil Dead, yeah, it's pretty
I mean,
much confirmed.
but now I'm kind of getting it because some of the choices he made, I think he made to purposefully knock the wind out of the typical Marvel MCU fan. And even just like the typical reviewer like us, he did it purposely for us to be like, yo, what the fuck were you thinking? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
But it's also just like, are you doing that for clout and style points? Like, because
No,
to
that's
me-
just how he does.
Well, no,
Like-
I know, but it was happened so often that I'm just like, is like, where's the substance in it? Like, that is how he does, but he also, again, I only could use my more favorite movies from him, Spider-Man 1 and 2. To me, there was substance.
Yes.
And while Multiverse has many bright spots of substance, there's so many things that are questionable.
I would say it has, like, you hit it on the nail right there with the substance of it. And I was thinking of an analogy. I was about to say this is the most McDonald's of the Marvel films, but it's not McDonald's in the way that it's like cookie cutter, where you go to any McDonald's in the world, it's the same thing. Because it's definitely Sam Raimi's McDonald's, but it's McDonald's in the way that when you eat it, it's good, but 5 minutes later, it's like there ain't no, you're like, damn, I could use a real meal now,
Yeah.
like something that's going to make
Yeah.
me really feel good about myself, not just
Yeah.
like this.
I honestly feel like they gave him, I don't know what the hell was going on with Kevin and them, but I think they just gave Sam unfettered access to anything you can do in the MCU at this point. And really, once the multiverse is open, you really can do anything.
Yeah,
But
and that's another issue.
But right, and that becomes a Deus Ex Machina, right? Going
Yes.
forward, right? Like, oh, everything could be explained away or retcon or explained in because multiverse, right? But my
Yes.
thing is, when you treat that with more regard and consideration,
Yes.
then you can move, you can kind of bypass or mitigate those pitfalls, right? I just feel like
They're not doing that.
If the multiverse is the pitfall, my man's jumped to the center of the earth and just kept fucking going. Like, the thoughts that was going through this man's head for some of these decisions. And again, and this movie is polarizing. Okay?
Yes.
It's polarizing. You're gonna
and all right.
either love it, you're gonna hate it, or you're just going to be still marinating and just ruminating on the whys.
And there's like, I know there's something that me and you are both straighting around, and we can't say this because this has been in the commercial, right? There is like,
There's lots of cameos.
there's lots of cameos, and in one of the commercials, Baron Mordo says to us Strange that it's time to meet the Illuminati. And I think this introduction of this Illuminati concept is going to be one of the most divisive things that we're talking about.
It's so divisive.
Massively divisive.
It's so divisive. And what goes back to what I was saying about substance and purpose.
Remember this face?
Yeah. It goes back to what I was saying about substance and purpose. Like, there was just a lot of things done to be flashy that I don't know that had true purpose.
Yeah, none at all. And no, and in the end, I think a very like not negative purpose, but a like that was like that not disrespectful, but slightly disrespectful. You know,
Yeah. I will say, as far from a character perspective, I don't think this was the strongest introduction to America Chavez that we could have
Oof.
gotten. Okay, I'm haven't read her stories, so Ben is very intrinsically linked in understanding of this character from the comics. This was my first introduction, and even I was just like, at the end of the day, how do I? Ben asked me, how did I feel about her? I'm like, she's all right, and I don't know if that is the intended feeling that you're supposed to come away with.
The thing is with her, I didn't read her first introduction. My first, like, Kieran Gillen didn't create her, but he used her in in Young Avengers. When he wrote Young Avengers, he brought her onto the team. So that was my first introduction, was issue 1 of Young Avengers. I'd never seen this character before. She walks into a diner with Kid Loki and threatens the shit out of him, and I was in love with this woman. You know, and it was just like, you know, she was perfect. And so it's one of those characters, like, just put her on the screen. You know, that's all. Don't do nothing. Just put her on the screen, dog, and you got money for years.
Well, the thing is, we don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, but from what I can tell from the pattern we've been seeing with the introduction of the newer, younger characters, they keep aging them down, and they're considerably aging them down.
Yes.
I don't know if they ever say America's actual age in the books, but at least from the art, she strikes me as like 17, going on 18, maybe even older, 19. I don't know. Definitely younger than 20, right?
Well, all of them are like that. Billy and Tommy are both, you know, much older.
Right.
Yeah.
In the films and the shows, everyone's aged down at least by like 4 to 5 years.
Yep. Kate
And
Bishop.
that you have to remember that if you're looking at these characters as people, that will affect their cognitive skills.
Yes.
That's going to affect their thinking. That's going to affect the choices they make. That's going to affect how they react to other people as well. And as Benhameen said, if they just put her in as she was, maybe some of these issues that occurred wouldn't have occurred.
But
quite
see,
like this.
okay, like for like, okay, that's Marvel. I read that recently. That's the one that they really want to go for, is the most elusive market on the planet. Young women, young girls. I don't feel like this is how you do it.
I don't think
I
so.
feel
Like
like
I
you
said,
give them the one that from the comics and you would have had money.
they could
Because
have aged her down and kept the same approach.
as a child, I loved strong women in cinema. You know, like, I was attracted to strong women and I loved them. You know, like, as mother figures, everything. Like, Sigourney Weaver and Aliens was my shit. You know, because that woman grabbed the gun and said, "Get away from her, you bitch." You know, and it was like, okay. You know, and just throughout the movie, she's strong, capable. She's right there with everyone, you know, and she's still sexy, all that. She's Sigourney Weaver. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I don't feel that with this character. You know, not even a young version. It's just, she, you know, 11, you know, from Stranger Things is more like, you know, like, this is.
Well, beyond America, Wanda, I again, Sam and his references, you know, I just felt it was like Terminator meets Carrie meets WandaVision on acid.
Yeah, the Terminator reference was great.
T-1000, y'all, just remember that.
And Carrie, all it was. That was, yeah, you're right. I'm like, yo, you threw two things like.
And that's what I mean. This man just keeps going to the center of the earth and out the
This
other
man's
side.
like
And
peanut
just
butter and
keeps
chocolate, bitch. Put them
fucking
shits
going.
together, oh.
Steven was Steven. I will say that is everything you expect. There was actually a really funny TikTok I saw the other day where it was this black guy who was like, in every movie, Steven does the same thing. He's doing this, his hand shit, and he's just like, if we don't hurry, you know, all the universe is going to collapse. And he's always like smug and always has an attitude every fucking time, no matter what. That's more that you're going to expect that. Oh God. Wong was fucking right. That's all I'm gotta fucking say. Look at Benhameen's t-shirt, tpublic.com/stores/for-all-nerds. Get your Wong was right shirt. Believe us, get this shirt, wear it opening day when you go to see Multiverse, and everyone will love you for it. Wong was fucking right. Mordor, worst wig.
Oh my
ever.
God.
It's worse in 8K. It's the most disastrous fucking wig. Like, y'all thought the posters was bad. My nigga, when you see this shit in 12K HD, whatever screen you're looking at it on, it's the worst motherfucking thing I ever seen in my life. Tyler Perry ain't got shit on this.
Shout out to my brother AJ Calloway, HU Zone, HU, you know. And you know, my man rocked the dreads and braids, you know, on 106 and Park. You know what I mean? That's my man's, but he rocked them. Your man more. I had to see it. I had to know. I got to know. Up close,
You know who?
son.
You know who I think I
just,
see.
Just let me finish. This man literally had cornrows in the front and dreads in the back. Like I mean, no. In every shot, I was like, please, I'm not seeing this right. No, that's not really.
I don't know how it got worse in every shot, but it got worse in every shot.
It was serious cornrows in the front and dreads in the back.
And I take that back. I think one of the worst wigs I've ever seen beyond TP was Walking Dead, like season 2, I guess, when homeboy from Welcome to Compton.
Oh, when Dr. Dre showed up with his dreads?
When Dr. Dre showed up.
No. Yeah, that was bad. The worst part about Mordo, whatever, is that Mordo. Yeah, Mordo's though was Mordo's. It was like it was well done. It was just well done and terrible. You know, like he had good dreads in the back and good cornrows in the front. You know, but it was just like,
I don't know, bro.
Why either?
That's all I got to say on him. It was just so egregious that I could not tell you.
It was racism. I felt like that was more racist like than anything else.
It felt very
in the movie.
anti-black to me, but hey, here we are.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know we can mention anybody else, but the point is, you basically everything you expect of the characters, the main characters that you're looking for, you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
It's the cameos and America where you're just might be like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. And again, for better or for worse.
It just depends also if you know America, you know, like if you know her from the comics, it's going to be different.
It's going to depend greatly, right? And a vast majority, actually, of the people who were in the audience with us did not know much of anything about America Chavez. So, like, again, for this to be the first introduction for pretty much the world, from someone like Benhameen's perspective, who has the storyline behind him, he's just like, God damn, I didn't like it. And like again, for me, I was just like, all right, she's cool, but you know, she's a kid.
But see, that's the point, right?
And I know I'm not the audience. Before someone's in the comments like, well, you're not the audience, you girl.
No,
that's
but
not the point.
no, but that's not the point. The point is right, and this goes back to how Marvel did their success, right? No one knew who Iron Man was. Iron Man is one of the lower tier characters in Marvel's history. Especially before the movies, because his comic was steady, but it never sold like X-Men. You know, Avengers didn't sell like X-Men. X-Men and Spider-Man were Marvel's 2 biggest comics from when I was reading till probably this day. You know, and so they didn't have those guys, so they had to do movies with Iron Man. But what made Iron Man 1 so special is that they got it right. And for the most part, other than, I'd like to tell you about the Avengers Initiative, it's a self-contained story where you have a whole ass arc. In fact, Iron Man has one of the illest scripts ever, because the first beginning when he gets to the suit, that's a whole ass movie. Like him creating that first suit in the desert and then crashing. And that's like the whole movie right there. That, you know, if they expanded that, you could have had a whole movie from that. That's a whole script right there. And then he has a whole nother, you know, story in the movie. So, all right, but let me finish, right? And then so with that, that's what made them successful. Now you have a character like America Chavez, and you have a character like Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop was aight, but compared to her comics, it's not the same Kate. And it's like Tommy and William so far, same difference.
Tommy and Billy? Well,
yeah, William, whatever you want to call them. And it's like, these are great characters that might grow into that, but what's the point of like doing them where they grow when they didn't do that with Tony Stark? They didn't do that. They gave you fully formed.
But Tony was an adult. And that's the thing. Children by virtue are not fully formed.
But give them why are they giving you these? Give them to us at like 15, 16, 17.
They don't want to. You said why. They're going for that market. They don't want to.
But they're not getting it. Wouldn't give them a Goonies.
Are they not getting it? Like we're.
I watch.
They're not getting us, maybe.
I'll put money on it, because it's like Pixar. It's universal things work universally, right? If you have a young female character in her 12-year-old and she's dope and capable, Haley Steinfeld in True Grit. You know what I mean? Fucking amazing. 10-year-old, how was she? And I was in love with her.
She was mad young, and she stood her ground.
Because the writing, everything else supported it. That's what I'm talking about. And they
Right.
could have done that with this, and they could
Right.
have done it with Kate. And
Right.
no,
So at the end of the day, with Multiverse, what makes it so exciting and infuriating all at the same time, everywhere all at once. Maybe a better version of the multiverse, right? But what makes this such a just such a paradox, this film, is that there are so many really fire creative things.
Yeah.
There, I mean, really fire
Super.
creative ideas and executions. Like, there's one scene where, and I can't say much, but there's one scene where you're just visually is stunning.
Stunning.
And it's just like, yo, just the fact that
I
you
could
even
watch that shit
thought
on loop.
to do that. The problem, though, is there are spots in between. And Benhameen said it to me earlier. He says, well, there's sections in the movie where I can put that shit on repeat.
Yeah.
I could spin the block on that shit all day. And there's sections of the movie where I just want to fucking fast forward through it because I'm like, hell fucking no, are you serious? And that's what I mean. It's just like, tonally, it's all over the place a little bit. It's all over the place a bit. It's like, are you supposed to be serious right now, or are we in a comedy right now? And it just feels frenetic.
Yeah. Our audience laughed inappropriately so many
they laughed
times.
at times. Our audience laughed at times they were not supposed to fucking laugh, and we had a mixed audience. So when they was laughing, I was looking around like, well, damn, it isn't just me.
Because I was trying not to laugh.
I was like, that was supposed to be a serious moment, y'all. Why y'all?
Like, this is a big
I mean,
introduction, and y'all rolling.
They was keying in there, and I was just like, oh, okay, so y'all seeing what I'm seeing. And I think that's the mark, right?
And I
When
wasn't
people
sure if
see
it
what
was
you're seeing.
intentional. Yeah,
It wasn't. And
the
that's my
Illuminati,
whole
the most
point.
divisive shit ever, bro. This shit is gonna be, it's gonna be mad divisive.
The thing is, again, even if after you come away with it, you
They
might
right
have
here.
you might come away with
them.
you might come away with a flash of, oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. Almost immediately, the curtain drops in your head. You're like, wait a fucking minute. Because let me tell you, I've never heard a theater from an MCU film full of so much chatter.
Yeah.
I deliberately was very
I wanted
quiet
to tell
and
Mance to be quiet behind us.
I was literally very quiet and still like when there's two credit scenes, but at the end of that, like, and everyone was kind of sitting there just talking to each other, or in between the credit scenes. I've just never heard so many people just talking at once, and it was the deliberations, it was the questioning, it was the realizations. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, Infinity War, or oh my God. Well, Infinity War was dead ass quiet, but you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh my God, Endgame, where it was just like, it was exhilarating.
It wasn't, oh my God, Ant-Man,
oh
where it was
my
like,
God.
hey.
It was, oh my God, we're fucking performing calculus in our heads because this shit was bugged out. Like, this was honestly the most bugged out MCU thing I've ever watched for me. And I say thing because beyond the shows, beyond the shorts, beyond the films, this was the most bugged out thing just from approach. You
said this earlier off the show. It was really like if you threw every episode of What If into a blender.
God damn it! If I didn't say that to you before, I'm gonna say it fucking again.
Yeah.
My second multiversal self will say that to you again because I said it to you earlier. The kitchen fucking sink was thrown in here, and
that was the theme of this movie.
And the kitchen sink had the name of What If. If you wanna get, and I'm not saying that's like, and I think I said this on a previous Views from the 616 episode. You gotta watch the Disney Plus shows to really, if you want to be primed. But if you want to be primed about what the fuck you're getting into, watch this fucking shit. Watch What If. And even then, you're gonna be like, what if they did reel this nigga back, yanked on a leash a little bit because he OD. They OD'd on this.
Oh man.
And again, I still got to go back to, I still was entertained. I don't know.
There's a reference I want to make, but
I don't know.
It'd be so spoilerific, so I won't make it. But it was another moment in another comic book movie that was super divisive. And it's not even a movie, like, you won't believe it. You know, it's like, you won't believe if, you know, like, because it's like, I can't believe they referencing that one, you know.
I can't believe it's not fucking
I'm going to
butter.
tell you off the air.
I can't believe it's not butter because I don't know what the fuck it's going, like.
Oof.
So beyond that, beyond the inconsistencies, there was a few notable inconsistencies within the film, but it was still entertaining at many points.
Mhm.
I don't know if that grants it a C plus or a B plus, but that's where it is. It's right in the middle for me.
Yeah.
Everything else that, again, there was just some really cool things that worked so well. The score, the sound design, amazing.
Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman fucking killed that. I got to talk to Michael Waldron a bit about what Michael Waldron wrote Loki, and he also wrote this.
He was head writer on Loki.
He was head writer
there's
on
a
Loki.
team of writers who write.
Right,
Loki.
but he was head
And
writer.
there was
He made
also
the
a team.
ultimate
He's probably a
decisions.
head writer on this. There's probably a few people wrote.
Whatever,
you know.
man's name is on the marquee.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Damn sure is.
I got some questions.
You got to take the blame. You the superstar.
I got some questions from just about. I think
Everything.
there were a lot of ideas that were just allowed to prosper, whereas maybe we should have been like, nah, maybe next time, like maybe we shouldn't. That be like I said, but just continue on the things that really worked. I said sound design. I said the score.
Visually.
Visuals off. Visuals. They went in on the visuals. Loved it.
Yeah.
This one thing I wanted to mention. This is probably the most, and I know you may have say otherwise, Ben. To me, this was the most violent MCU film.
Super.
And when I say violent, I don't mean gory. There's a
Yeah,
difference.
but yes, it is.
To Marvel's degree, though, because Marvel will cut out a lot of what should be blood, what should be more like Walking Dead level gore, but it's not to that extent. But there's some shit in there that knocks on the fucking door of Walking Dead.
Right there. It gets close
There's
enough.
stuff that knocks on that door, but it's the most violent Marvel film I've seen, which goes back to me saying I think Sam is on one, because I just really truly believe he made some decisions to be like, I'm gonna fuck these niggas up. Like, he really sat there and said, do it. Fuck them up. They ain't ready for this shit. And I'm just like, ooh, he jumped out the window. Like, he jumped out the window. And that's what I'm saying. Some people will watch this and have a fucking blast and say, Tatiana, how dare you? That shit was fire. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Come to me in a day and tell me what the fuck happened. Give me an explanation of what just occurred. And
More
when
so
you turn around and stutter and can't give me a full, complete response, then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yes. And give me because Disney Marvel asked us not to discuss character development, etc. Give me an example of character development.
Good luck to you.
And yeah, but like you said, it's Marvel, so it has that, sheen and shine, and there are moments.
It has great action.
There's great action. There's a lot of good moments, but like you said, there's so many choices in between these moments.
There's some good heartfelt moments.
There's some good horrific moments for people who want to know about the horror. There's some good goofy horror moments.
They threw the kitchen sink at it.
Yep.
Every Disney Plus TV show starring Wanda and or people adjacent to Wanda has been thrown in, and it's just like, good luck to you guys. Like, you thought that shit was wild. Like, when they say Multiverse of Madness, Sam went literal. This is madness. This isn't Sparta. This is sheer.
Yeah. It's more madness than multiverse.
And that's the title of this episode, y'all.
More mess than multiverse, too. That's the title.
Y'all, I don't know what else we got to say here. Ben, did you have anything extra you wanted to mention?
Not much. Yeah. It looks really good. I like Sam Raimi's directorial choice, even the weird ones. Yeah. Even some of his weird ones I like, just because it's like, it's so like, it's so him.
My final thought, go fucking see this film. You have to. Like, just to even keep up with the timeline of what the fuck is going on in the MCU, well, now that I'm thinking about it, you don't.
Yeah, I don't know if you do. I don't know if you do. I wouldn't say that.
But no, you do, because they're going to insert some type of type of plot point in the next film where you're just like, you have no idea unless you saw this one. And that might be the downfall, right? Because Ben, you said this very eloquently in the theater, and I want you to repeat this point you made about having it be a full-fledged story versus one where it's basically a commercial for the next story.
Yeah, it's basically a commercial for the next story, and even more so. I don't say that this is fully a commercial for the next story. A lot of it is. it's like I said, we talked about this earlier. It's like Iron Man tells you this complete story and it doesn't expect you to see anything else. And Marvel has run into this problem, I feel like, since Endgame, where it's like they keep looking at what they did and there's so many different things going on. While before you just had Thanos, even though things barely moved forward with Thanos, you were at least looking forward to that one thing. Now it's like there's a lot going on and it doesn't feel like it has that same tightness. And it just feels like, I keep hearing this when people come out of these films now where they're like, well, it just opens up so much for the next stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but what did it do for this? And
right.
Even with the opening, I feel like this closes doors in a weird way where it's like, where it's, like I say, it's going to be divisive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my final thoughts on, I'm gonna say go see this movie. I think it's just to be a completionist, you gotta go see this fucking film, and don't be mad. Don't be go in with as open mind as possible.
Yes.
If you just there to enjoy yourself, just fucking enjoy yourself. If you're there to see things make sense that you believe should make sense, you're gonna be disappointed.
And don't
That's it.
anticipate cameos, etc., like that. Because if you're thinking this person and that person is to be in it, you're gonna be sitting there wasting your time waiting for someone to show up, and they may or may not.
And we keep telling y'all, stop watching all the fucking trailers. Stop reading everything on goddamn Reddit.
Yep.
It's a mistake. Don't do that to yourself.
Especially with this one, because I can say a lot of stuff was out there on Reddit. So definitely avoid that.
And a lot of stuff out there in general
on Twitter now,
wrong.
The
internet was wrong. Wow.
Oh my God,
concept?
I saw like a list of 50 characters on Reddit, and it's hilarious what people were expecting for this film. And like, yo, we'll see. There's a lot though. It's a lot of cameos, but yeah, it's not. It ain't 50. Jesus.
50 Cent is not in this, but
nah.
That being said,
this don't cross over with the Power multiverse, unfortunately. Unfortunately, folks, like that. That would have been the Multiverse of Madness.
I think we're still. I still don't think we're off the fence about whether it's a greatest movie ever or worse. It's not. It's not neither. It's neither. It's Schrodinger's cat.
It's all
right. Go see it though. Thank you for listening. Appreciate your time. Make sure you are following us on your favorite podcast platform. Follow For All Nerds. Listen to Views from 616. That is this podcast that you're listening to now, which covers everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. I'm Tatiana King, at Tatiana King on socials. He is at DJ Benhameen. And make sure you are supporting us if you can. Please, we appreciate you. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/ForAllNerds. That's how you can support us financially. That's how we pay our staff and get to do cool things like this review and get all sorts of access so we can give you the content, that bontent, really. Go to our TeePublic, tpublic.com/stores/ForAllNerds. That's how you get Benhameen's official Juan Was Right shirt. I will say this for the 4th time. Buy that tee and walk in that fucking theater, and don't tell me you don't feel like the motherfucking prime minister when you walk out. I'm telling you.
Anywhere on the street after this movie comes out.
For real.
Yeah.
Make sure you're subscribed to us, or at least follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/ForAllNerds. Anything else I missed, Ben?
No, that's pretty much it. We'll be back with a more full, in-depth review once the movie drops. Probably do an all-star joint.
No, this was spoiler-free. That one will be spoiler-filled.
We'll have all-star, get everybody up in here so we can all talk about it. And I'm going to go ham then because, oh my God, I can't wait.